everybody. I'm back for another episode of Non-Scripted Ramblings, and I am a Kendall Richardson. Thank you so much for joining me as I now begin my journey through the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Very exciting to have this show come out so soon after WandaVision. We're very much being spoilt by Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios right now. It's a fantastic time to be alive. And yeah, it's episode 1. There's only going to be 6 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier, so not as long as WandaVision. But it's going to be a show that makes each episode count, as the first episode really indicates. Although it's not much of things happening, it's all set up. Like, it's a good pilot in the sense that it's setting everything up. It's putting all of the pieces on the board. We're getting caught up with our characters and where they are now in the timeline following the events of Avengers Endgame. This episode obviously makes it clear that it's set a few months after the events of Avengers Endgame, which means it is set after WandaVision, because that took place only a few weeks after everyone came back and the Avengers battled out against Thanos and his army. Whereas Falcon and the Winter Soldier does take place a few months down the road. And yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed this episode. I was kind of maybe hoping for a bit more to happen, but I'm totally fine with the fact that we're just setting it all up right now. The opening was fantastic. The return of Batroc from Winter Soldier. We haven't seen him in a long time, and he's still being shady as ever and committing crimes against the United States of America. And it was really cool way. Like, it was a really cool way to start the show by setting up Falcon and what he's doing. He's working for the Air Force, like doing contracts. Kind of off the books, on the books sort of situation where he's not really supposed to be, like, the US are not supposed to be here, so he's doing all these covert kind of missions for them because he's not an official member of the army. I guess he's not part of the military anymore. Because I think he did retire after, he mentioned it to Steve in Winter Soldier. I'm pretty sure he retired after he came back from Iraq. But regardless, I digress a little. It was such a great sequence anyway. The action was shot superbly well. I loved seeing Falcon in action. That was so cool. Getting another chance for Red Wing to come into the fray and shine, that was awesome. I really love Red Wing, and we only got a small taste of him in Civil War, and I don't think we've really seen him since, at least not up close. And this was a really cool way to show that he's been upgraded, and that it has all these new little features and things that it can do, and Sam talks to it, which part of me wonders if that's just Sam being Sam, or because he loves Red Wing, like he does his favorite dog, in a really cute, endearing way, or if it's, some actual kind of voice command interface thing, like the way Tony Stark would talk to Jarvis, or Friday, or Peter Parker would talk to Karen in the Spider-Man films. So maybe it's that, but Red Wing doesn't talk back yet. Who knows? Really cool though. And this was also the sequence where we got introduced to Lieutenant Joaquin Torres, who I really enjoyed as well. He's a great character. Found out after watching the episode that he's actually in the comics, and he becomes the second iteration of Falcon after Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. Except he's like a different type of Falcon. He doesn't have the wings like wings like Sam does. He's actually kind of been enhanced to actually have wings grow out of him. So he has real wings. I don't think they're going to do that in this show or in the MCU going forward, but who knows? Anything's possible. But they are very much setting it up for, just as I feel like WandaVision was the journey for Wanda Maximoff to become fully realized Scarlet Witch, this is going to be Sam Wilson's journey to being fully realized as the new Captain America. And thereby creating a gap for someone to step up and maybe be Falcon, and maybe we'll see some kind of poetic reenacting of the shield handoff scene in Endgame, except it's Sam handing off the wings to Joaquin Torres at the end. So that would be really cool. I really like him. He's also doing some investigating of his own, because we've got a few antagonists at work here in this first episode, and going forward throughout the series, because Zemo is nowhere in sight in this episode. We still have no idea how he's connecting to this whole thing. We have no idea if he's involved with the quote-unquote flag smashers, or if he's involved with US agent John Walker in any way. Who knows? We'll find out down the track. He could be independent of all of them. Regardless, Torres is investigating the flag smashers, who are this organization who basically, as he puts it, and I'm paraphrasing, they preferred the way the world was during the blip, the fact that humanity kind of came together under one sort of banner to unite and get through those troubling 5 years. And whilst there's a beautiful sentiment, the fact that now everyone's returned and things are trying to go back to the way they were, these flag smashers are seem to be, I don't know, coordinating chaos and anarchy around the world at the moment, because they're preferring this other way of life that they had become accustomed to during the blip. We still don't really know much more beyond that, what their agenda is. We saw the scene in Switzerland where they're assembled outside this bank, and then this clearly enhanced individual gets involved and robs this bank, and they take the money, and all the people are wearing the masks, the red handprint with the world in the middle of it. Very cool imagery, very, iconic imagery. I think that's going to become very important throughout the show. But yeah, that was really, really, really cool. Yes, so as for Sam Wilson, in terms of his standing after Endgame, apart from doing these contracts for the army, he's clearly not accepted Steve Rogers' offer of the shield and the mantle of Captain America, and I feel like the trailers really did obviously indicate that was going to happen, but I even think going back to that scene in Endgame, I mean, literally the first thing he says to Steve, and we hear the dialogue again, this is brilliant, the opening scene where he's looking at the shield, he's holding it, and he hears old Steve in his head, saying, it's yours. He's like, it feels like it's someone else's. And Steve says it isn't. He really meant to give it to him. But, Sam from the get-go was just like, no, I'm not worthy of this, I don't deserve this, it should be given to someone else. But or most importantly, it's yours, it belongs to you. So we see at the start of the episode, after the opening sequence, that he's, at the Smithsonian giving a speech, handing off the shield to the museum, to their Captain America exhibit, by way of saying, here you go, Steve, thank you, but no thank you. This is your shield, I'm not doing this. And it's really interesting that he says, I'm paraphrasing the exact line, but in his speech, Sam says that the shield belongs to a Captain America, is kind of, representative of a hero or a symbol, and, we need a hero or a symbol that is more appropriate for the times that we're in, more suited to the times that we're in. And I feel like that's implying 110% that's what Sam Wilson is going to become by the end of the show. But at this point in his story, he doesn't feel that's him, even though all of us are yelling at him, Sam, you're an idiot, why did you give the shield up? Yeah, so that was really powerful and really kind of bittersweet to see him hand it over. But it was really nice too to see Rhodey make an appearance. I didn't realise Don Cheadle was going to be popping up in this. I don't know if that was a widely known thing going in, but in a small capacity, of course. He's got his own show, Armor Wars, coming up next year, so he's not really going to be hugely involved in this, but he did hint at his return down the track, so we'll probably see him in the finale, maybe suited up as War Machine. That'd be amazing, but I don't know. But I really enjoy the conversation that he and Sam have, as they walk through the Captain America exhibit and look at, you know, where the shield is, and Sam talks to him about how he's feeling about the whole thing. And yeah, it's very poignant and really, really nice. There's a lot of poignancy to this first episode because of the way that they're going into these characters. Similar to WandaVision, we're getting deeper looks into these characters than we ever have before, because these are previously supporting characters amongst the Avengers, and now they're the leading characters, because they're the ones that are left, and the ones that are getting their own shows. So it makes perfect sense. I really like the introduction of Sam's sister, Sarah. She's feisty, she's wonderful. She's a very strong-willed woman, and I love to see that. And I love how she's just kind of, she understands where Sam is coming from, because, you know, they have this family legacy of this, you know, this boat in Louisiana. It belonged to their parents. It's named after their parents, which is really sweet. But, you know, things went horribly wrong during the blip, because Sarah didn't get blipped away, neither did her kids, Sam's nephews, so they all grew and changed through that time that Sam was gone. And, you know, things got really, really bad, and now they're trying to rebuild now that everyone's back, and it's just not happening. So she's come to the conclusion she needs to sell the boat, sell the business, and move on. And Sam's not having it, because it's, you know, it's the family, it's the Wilson family legacy, you know. And he feels terrible that against his will he was not here for 5 years, and he's doing his best now to make up for the fact that he was gone, even though it was through no fault of his own, really. I mean, if Thor had gone for the head, maybe things would have been different, but that's neither here nor there. He eventually went for the head, so it's fine. Yeah, but just talking about Sarah and Sam, I have to give complete props and shout out to the writers and directors for the scene in the bank, because that was so uncomfortable, and rightly so, and importantly so. It was so good, so well written, so well acted, and I just love how Sam's so altruistic. He's so optimistic. He's like, oh, we'll get the money, we'll get the loan from the bank, you won't have to worry about anything, you know. And he basically is implying that because he's Falcon, he'll be able to make it work, even though he does mention to the bank staff member when they're, you know, pleading their case, that he's done all this research, he knows they qualify for a certain type of loan, blah blah blah. So it's not just, he's just not resting on his laurels of he's Falcon, he's actually done the hard yards to figure it out and make sure it will work. However, the the bank worker is yeah, I don't know if I should use the word racist, but maybe. I would not be surprised if that's kind of what they were going for, because yeah, he says they can't give him the loan because he's had no income for 5 years, so they have no way of knowing that he can repay it back, even though he was gone during the blip. And apparently that's not an excuse enough for the bank to give them a loan. Which was so interesting, because he countered it with, he said something like, you know, times have changed, and with everyone coming back, you know, things got tight, things tightened up. And that's when Sarah Wilson throws down with one of the best lines, probably the best line in this whole episode. She says, funny how things always tighten around us. And my God, did that stir something inside of me. And I know for a fact that would have stirred something inside a lot of people in the world. Yeah, so we're getting these hints of where this show is going, because that powerful stuff then, of course, leads into later in the episode when John Walker, US agent, is revealed as the new Captain America. And just another example of the MCU using government organizations as, you know, kind of these clandestine groups, you can't trust them, you know, because at the start of the episode you have this guy from the Department of Defense, I assume, who's like, thanks Sam for doing the right thing apparently and putting the shield where it belongs and all this stuff, like commends him for making that decision, right? And then at the end of the episode, he's the same guy that comes forward and is like, here's your new Captain America, we need a hero to, you know, we have heroes that fight for the earth, but we need someone to fight for our country. and basically implying that Sam Wilson is not that person. And it's just, got me real fired up. And just watching Sam like react to this press conference announcing John Walker as the new Captain America was just so, yeah, that was very powerful. Very, very well done. Very well done. Just on John Walker for a moment, very cool tidbit. The actor who plays him is Wyatt Russell. He's the son of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, and I had no idea. I'm sure they had kids, sure, obviously. They've been together for like nearly 40 years, but I didn't realize that they had a son who was an actor, and but apparently I don't think he's done too much. Maybe I haven't really done my research on him, so I apologize. But yeah, he apparently was a hockey player as well. So I guess he's juggling both careers, or maybe he's just transitioned into acting. But nevertheless, it's really cool to see another Russell pop up in the MCU. I'm really looking forward to seeing his acting chops, to see if he's got any of those really good genes that his parents have passed on to him, because he looks like his dad so much. Like, not in this shot of him in the outfit, but like if you look up a picture of him, like he has the facial hair going on, and he's got the Kurt Russell kind of look going on, and it's nice. It's nice. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him throughout the show, especially because his character is going to be stirring up probably some of the most controversy going forward, especially in regards to Sam's story. It's very, very exciting. Anyway, switching gears now, I haven't talked about Bucky at all yet. Bucky, so great to see him in this. Of course, so great to see some, diving into his character and his psyche and what he's going through and how he's carrying on in this post-blip world. The fact that he has to go to therapy now because it's part of his pardon. The government obviously pardoned him for the crimes he committed when he was Winter Soldier, and this is one of the things he has to do so they can keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't go off the rails and start killing people. We don't want that. And then he has this book that's filled with names, and they're names of, people that the Winter Soldier affected in one way or another, whether it was, and I like that it was both sides of the coin. It wasn't just people whose lives he's ruined. It was also people whose lives he improved. One of the first cases we see is this, a government woman who the Winter Soldier actually, working for Hydra, propelled into a position of power, and so part of his making amends is reporting her to the authorities, which was a very hilarious scene. I really liked that. And, taking her down a peg and putting her behind bars, so that's the way of making up for that. And then you have, on the other side, what you usually think when it comes to making amends, and that's the fact that he's associating and befriending the father of a man he killed, who was just an innocent bystander, wrong place, wrong time, while he was carrying out Hydra orders, and he killed him. And the dad's just had, he's still coming to terms with the loss, grieving. He's got a shrine, he's in his apartment, and that was such an emotional scene. Like, part of me, the date scene was really, really cute, really nice. I really like this waitress, I suppose, who's working at this food restaurant place. Words are escaping me. Sushi cafe, I suppose. And there's some really cute exchanges between her and Bucky, like the whole age thing about, he's like, I'm 106, and she's laughing, and then he's laughing but not really, like, it's just very funny. And then when they're playing Battleship and stuff, there's some nice banter, and she starts making small talk, trying to get to know him, and then it kind of shifts to, she talks about the fact that he's been looking after Mr. Nakashima, who lost his son, and then she says this really interesting thing, and it's something I've never considered before, the fact that, there's a word for if you're a widow, there's a word for if you've lost your parents, you're an orphan, but there's not a word for being a parent, losing a kid, because it's one of the worst things that can ever happen. And then Bucky, because he's going through trying to make these amends and just feeling beyond terrible for everything he did, just, races out of there and goes to see Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nakashima, and I think he was going to tell him the truth, but then he saw the shrine and chickened out, which is totally understandable. But the fact that they brought it up she brought it up during the date, I'm like, that's nice, and I get you're a good person, but isn't that a bit heavy to bring that up? Like, because, he just walked out like that. I mean, maybe she wasn't expecting him to react like that, but I don't know, it was a bit full on. But I suppose they've known each other for a while, because as is established at the start of the episode, they're regulars at this cafe. They've been going there for a while. She knows them, she knows their order, how they usually have the same thing, so, maybe it's okay. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, probably. I tend to do that a lot with things, but yeah. What else can I talk about with Bucky? I don't know. I'm probably forgetting something, but that's basically all that stuff that I just mentioned was, I really enjoyed, like I said earlier, just I'm loving the fact that we're getting a chance to know these characters better, get inside their heads and find out what they're dealing with. So it's a good first episode, that it's not just all action non-stop the whole time. They actually bring in a lot of the drama behind it, and not just, dealing with let's catch the bad guys sort of thing and shoot them and blow them up sort of, it's not all that. That will be saved for later on. The whole last episode will probably just be action, which is fine. Fully expecting it, totally fine. Now, as for some Easter eggs that I picked up, and this one connects to US Agent and to the enhanced individual that's working with the Flag Smashers. So in the credits, there is there's a lot of little Easter eggs in the end credits, which are really cool. Except I did find it weird that there's this obvious, picture of Sharon Carter there, and that's going to be, where Emily Van Camp's name will pop up when she shows up in the show, probably next episode or the one after. But it was just so obviously that's going to be for that, because it was just awkward that it was just empty for a second. I'm like, oh, okay, we know she's in it, but whatever. It's fine. But yeah, the other really cool Easter egg was the fact that the phrase "power broker is watching" was in the background. That's a reference to there's a figure in the comics, a villain known as Power Broker, who basically, I suppose, for a price, he manufactured superheroes or villains or whatever. He gave people abilities, and so it looks like they're going to be introducing him in Falcon Winter Soldier. He's probably going to be how this enhanced person working with the Flag Smashers, how they got their powers. And it's probably, if John Walker has abilities, which we know he does in the comics, and it's highly unlikely that they would make someone Captain America and not give them powers. So the Power Broker may have given John Walker his super soldier abilities to be able to be Captain America. So he's got his hands in both baskets, whether or not John Walker is fully on the level and just a patsy, or if he knows more than he says he does. We don't know. We'll obviously find out next week and going forward, whether or not we can trust him, and we probably cannot with that, cheesy grin and wink to the camera at the end of the episode. So who knows? But yeah, so that's a working kind of theory I'm thinking about, leaning towards at the moment. Flag Smasher was also a villain in the comics, another Captain America villain. So that's how they've taken the name from the comics and repurposed it for this, organization here in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know if I have any other things to say other than, I loved it. I can't wait for more. This is fantastic. yeah, it's gonna be epic and incredible. I can't wait to see how everything connects with each other, all these different storylines going forward. How's Zemo going to show up? Is he going to be connected to the Flag Smashers? Is he connected to US Agent? Is US Agent a good guy or a bad guy? Because in the comics he starts off as a bad guy, but then he is redeemed and joins the West Coast Avengers after that. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It's all very exciting. I cannot wait to see more, and I can't wait to see when Sam and Bucky finally meet up, because all we know so far is that Bucky is ignoring Sam's messages. So hopefully next episode we see the two of them reunite, and thus begins the hilarious banter between the two of them, and I can't wait for it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I leave anything out of the episode? If there's anything I missed, please also comment below. I will reply. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, do all that jazz with FREDtheAILEN Productions, so you can keep up with my Falcon and the Winter Soldier reviews as the episodes come out every single week until its end in 5 weeks' time. So yes, thank you for watching. Until next time, I've been a Kendall Richardson, and you've just experienced non-scripted ramblings.